All right, we're on B1, which is page 4. And before we go on to this part, I do want to make sure that you have your grids and guides set up. There was a box on the bottom of on the right of page 2 showing you how, but let's just double check. Go to Edit and Preferences and then Grids and Guides. And we just want to make sure under Guides and Grids, I guess, we want to make sure that we're set for a grid line every 100 pixel and 5 subdivisions. So just double check that first and then hit OK, and then let's go ahead and turn those grid lines on. Okay, that way everybody's got the same number of boxes on the screen. It'll make it a little easier to draw. So in B1, what we're getting into is beginning to draw our toucan shape. And let's start by looking at some of the options. So the options bar at the top, right now I have nothing clicked on, so it says no selection, but I can come up here and go ahead and click on black, and this color is the fill color. So that's the color of the inside of shapes. Next to that, this is the stroke color. It shows an outside edge. The stroke color is set to black, and we're going to set it to none, which is null is the word, and that's the red line through it. Okay, so we've kind of got that preset already. And this options bar does change based on the tool you're on and then what you happen to be clicked on in that moment. Now we are going to draw some shapes. So let's start off and draw a simple shape. We're going to choose the ellipse tool. And if you club down to the button that looks like a rectangle, that's the rectangle tool. If you click and hold, that will show you additional tools. And the ellipse tool hides underneath the rectangle. So I'm going to click on the ellipse tool. You have two options. You can click and drag and draw, which is what we're not going to do. So I'm going to press Control-Z and undo that. Or you can just click. And when you click, you can give it a size, which is a little easier if you know what size you're making something. So I'm going to just click one time. And whatever's up here, it should draw it with. So no stroke and a black fill. And for the width and the height, we're going to do 400 by 500. Okay, it'll be an oval. So I'm going to hit OK. And there we go. And if we look up here again, we want to make sure we are set to black fill, no stroke. In the properties bar at the right, you'll also see this. So under where appearance is, you'll see fill black, stroke, set to null. Now, we want to get used to pretty much every time you draw a shape, immediately switching to the selection tool. If you press the letter V on your keyboard, that's the quick key to switch you to the selection tool. Learn it, because that's the fastest way to switch back and forth. So I have created my ellipse, and now I've got my selection tool, which allows me to pick it up and move it around. I can also rotate the shape by using this rotate. Oops, that's not the right one. By using the rotate handles in the corner. And then I also can resize the shape by pulling in and out. I'm going to undo all of those things because I don't want to be doing any of that. To edit the shape, though, if we want to change the way that the shape works, we can edit the points, and that's done with the white arrow tool, which is the direct selection tool. You can press the letter A on your keyboard for that. So those are two good keyboard shortcuts to know. V for the selection tool and A for the white direct selection tool. Notice when you click on the white direct selection tool, you end up with 4 boxes, because technically that's what a circle has 4 points. If you click on a point, that activates that anchor point, and then you're going to see handles coming from those. Those are called adjustment handles. So those adjustment handles allow you to change the shape, like so. Now I'm going to press undo, Control-Z, after I did that, just so you can see what it looks like. So you can do that by clicking on those anchor points. You can click an anchor point and then pull it up. You do have to click once to grab a hold of the shape, and then a second time to grab a hold of that individual anchor if that's what you're wanting to move around. Okay? Page 5, we're going to modify with the direct selection tool. So one fun thing about a shape is that you can use this to reposition points. So we're going to reposition this top point again and drag out the handle attached to the bottom anchor point. So we're going to pull this one down a little bit, just make it a little flatter. And then this bottom one, we're going to click it, and then we're going to pull these handles out. And that kind of flattens it. We're going to Humpty Dumpty's that thing a little bit, right? There you go. And you can see that we've now flattened that out. So that's one of the fun things you can do with the direct selection tool and using those handles. All right. Now we're going to draw another ellipse. So remember, V gets us back to home base. I always like to go to that first. and then we can go choose whatever it is we're going to use. And we're going to use the ellipse tool again, and we're going to click one time again, and we're going to give it a size, this time 100 by 300 pixels, and hit OK. And so now we have this kind of little thing, which we're going to turn into a feather using another cool feature. Okay, we need to go back to the direct selection tool. Again, the letter A will do that for you, or you can click the button. That's going to give us our 4 points on the oval. We are going to convert this point at the top from a round point to a pointy point, or an actual corner. So up in the top corner of the page, you see a Convert Anchor Point tool. And you can see there's a round one and there's a pointy one. So we're going to click on this top point and then click this corner one. There we go. And then repeat this process on the bottom one. And there we go. And now we actually have kind of a little feather shape. Okay. Now we're going to make a copy of this. You could copy paste, of course, but the fastest way is to switch back to the main home selection tool, the black arrow tool. And then you're going to point to the shape, hold down the Alt key, and your mouse is going to change. Now you kind of have to click and move it a little bit, but hold down your mouse and the Alt button is going to make it have a black arrow with a white arrow next to it overlapped on each other. All right, then you're going to click and drag, and don't let go till you see the copy, and then let go of Alt. And now you have two copies. We're going to, let's see, this one's on top. And this one's on bottom. We want the bottom one to be the darker orange tool, orange color. So on our swatches, we have 2 shades of orange. So it's that middle shade, the darker one. We're going to use that darker orange. And then we're going to rotate. Remember, you can use the corner handle to rotate. I can rotate that one and then click the other one and rotate it. And you can use your arrow keys on your keyboard to just kind of nudge it into place so that they overlap, such as that. Now, if you got the wrong ones, the wrong color, you can always click on these, kind of like you can with pretty much most other programs, and right-click and arrange if you need to bring to front or send to back. So that works the way it does in most programs. So now we have our 2 little wings, and we have our little flat body for our toucan. Let's go ahead and hit File and Save, and that gets us to the bottom of page 5.